How you doing? This is actually an evening after work. The last time I showed you the 61, she was still apart, but this is actually what she looks like right now. She's ported, the top end's back on it. Muffler's on and everything. I am currently, I figured out my clutch situation. We got the more modern 3-shoe style clutch on it. I'm currently working on the ignition system because this crankshaft is for a 1-piece ignition, but this saw has a 2-piece ignition. And the flywheel that was originally on this saw will not work with this crankshaft. So I ordered a flywheel that I think will work with this crankshaft. And we're gonna put it on, see how things time out, and see if we have to go any further with modifications to get a working ignition system on this. You know what I mean? So that's kind of where we're at with this 61. I'm just kind of figuring out, I need spark, you know, and I got to get it timed correctly. It'll work probably. It's the timing. I'm just curious to see if the timing works, because you know the keyway position is different. The 1-piece ignition, 2-piece ignition, the coils might be sitting at different locations, you know. So we'll see how this works out. I might have to kind of set the timing by feel, I'm thinking. You know what I mean? I needed to start by getting a flywheel that will work with this crankshaft though. And that's what I'm waiting on right now. Just getting that crankshaft. The thing I was actually working on out here today though, I was doing some square hand filing. I'm working on this is a 3/8 chain. The square filing is 72 driver 3/8 chain. That's actually what I was working on. And I don't know why I turned the camera on. I just kind of felt like it. Look at the mud on me from work today. Just seen the other guy. I'm the one who came out of the hole clean. But not dry. I got soaked. Clean up to the acorns. Filled the ditch right up. Had to pull the corp out of the main. So the corp, if you're not familiar, you got like a water main, you know, 6-inch, 8-inch, whatever. I was working on a 6-inch today. And the corp is where you get your feed to the house. You know what I mean? It comes through a corp. And the corp typically either threads directly into the main, or they use a saddle around the main and they thread into that. And you also got repair bands. It's like a big stainless steel repair band that you can clamp around it and thread in the new corp and everything. But so the one I was working on today had a saddle, and we were putting a new service line in from the main to the customer's house, because it's an old galvanized line that needed to be replaced. So, you know, we were replacing it. And once I started getting into the main and cleaning it out, we discovered the bolts to the saddle rotted off. So it's literally like it's leaking. As soon as I moved the dirt away from it, it started leaking, but it almost had this rumble to it because of all the pressure behind it. You know what I mean? It's like one more shovelful and that thing is going to go flying, you know? So what I did is I kind of braced it to hold it in place while I shoveled all the dirt out around it, cleaned everything up, got it ready, and then I ripped that sucker off of there and slid on a repair sleeve, or one of the repair bands with a corp set up in it. So, you know, we had her flying. We did that fix live. So we do a lot of that stuff live. For no reason, and shutting them down and putting, you know, 15, 20 houses on boil water notices and all that stuff. So if you shut the main down, everybody who's affected, you have to give them a boil water notice until you can go through, flush the system, pull samples, get the samples tested over the course of like 3 days until you can turn off the boil water notice. So if we can go do it live, as long as we maintain that positive pressure in the main or whatever, you know what I mean? We don't have to go through that process. So, you know, get wet. Makes it a lot easier in the end. You just gotta deal with getting wet, you know? But I'm actually getting ready to do some plumbing work here at the house. I've ordered a whole lot of PEX. A whole lot. Let me think here. I got 200 feet of 3/4 coming, 200 feet of 1/2 inch coming. And the reason there's 200 feet coming is because that's like the size of the roll that I ordered. I ordered, there's 100-foot roll of the blue and 100-foot roll of the red kind of together in a package deal on the 3/4. So I just ordered that. The same thing with the 1/2. I ordered that. I'm gonna have a whole lot of leftover PEX till I'm done, but you know, it seems simpler that way instead of trying to order or get like smaller rolls or whatever. You know, at least now I know I'll have enough. But I ordered a 500-foot roll of the red PEX, the red oxygen barrier PEX, because I want to put in, you know, I'm going to start plumbing the house for an outside boiler setup. There is no hot water radiators or any of that stuff. And the forced air system that we have only is on the first floor. So I'm just going to plumb the whole house for cast iron radiators. Originally, I was going to, because I'm redoing some flooring on the second floor, most of it, I was just going to go ahead and do a floor radiant heat. And then I decided here recently that I'm just going to go to cast iron radiators. The floor radiant heat, it's a whole lot more money, you know? I mean, I don't know. I just decided it's all the money, the extra work. Heck, even with the outside wood boiler, the way you plumb it, it's a little different than what you do with cast iron, you know? I don't know all those details, but I know a guy who does. Just, you know, when you're starting from scratch and how to get everything plumbed in correctly and everything. I don't know 100% every little thing. I know you need this tank and this like pressure tank, and you need I don't know, there's just all sorts of things, and the way you run your lines. But I've been talking to a guy, and basically I'm like, okay, I'm gonna order some stuff. What should I order? And he tells me what to order. And then when I get that stuff in, I'm ready to order more. And then I ask him, and we kind of keep track of the parts. And whenever I have all the parts here, we're gonna put her in, you know. But first, I'm gonna go ahead and get the radiators in the house and get all the plumbing ran to the basement, to like the one area where I'm gonna put all this. And once it's all there, and I'll have it all labeled and everything, and then I'll bring him in for that final plumbing connection and everything and hookup, you know. But during this process, I'm like going through my mind on how I need to run my plumbing, especially to get to the second floor, you know. I'm not going to be opening up all the walls. So I was thinking to myself, you know, I could run up through, you know, to keep it hidden, I could come through the corner of a closet. And from this closet, go from the basement up through the corner of this closet on the first floor, straight up to the corner of this closet on the second floor. And then from there, I actually have access to the master bedroom and this other bedroom. And since I'm going to be redoing the other side of the house with, you know, the walls and the stuff on the other side of the house, I'll have easy access to that stuff. So I figured if I could get through these closets and up and in, I'd be good. But then I realized when I was looking around that there is a big, like, hidden chamber in my house. I never knew was there. Like, it's one of those things that you walk by a million times and you never notice it. So this bedroom and this bedroom, like, imagine two bedrooms, and they got closets to come in together and meet each other. Well, this closet on this bedroom is only 4 foot wide, where this side here, like the master bedroom, it essentially goes the whole like 10 foot or so of the master bedroom. So there's a gap here. But then I realized that the back of the two closets don't meet. There's like 1.5 foot between them. So if those two closets, if none of those closets were there, I'd probably have a 5 foot wide room. What is that? You know what I mean? What is that room? What would it be there for? I'm like, could I just open that up and turn that into like a laundry area or something? I got to do some investigating because I know this compartment is there. I know. And the more I think about it, I'm suspicious it might be an old flue. I've always had kind of in the back of my mind or whatever, like suspicions that the house has been added on to make it bigger and bigger and bigger. Just kind of the way the layout is, you know what I mean? And if this is an old flue, that would mean that my living room would have been like a kitchen with a cook stove set up and maybe like a common family dining area. Like the house would be only half as big as what it is now. You know, more like I don't know, it'd be smaller, half the size. And if that's true, it'd be like the living room would have been the kitchen and the flue would have been straight up from there. And I'm suspicious this compartment up there might have been where the flue went, and these closets were kind of cut in around it. You know what I mean? That's what makes sense to me. Because otherwise, why would you leave a big open void between two rooms? You know what I mean? We're going to find out, you know? But anyway, I'm rambling on about the house here. That's kind of what's been on my priority lately is the house. Getting things done with the house, doing some plumbing, you know, all that. I'm redoing every single piece of plumbing in the house. And I'm working on getting in all the supplies, all the PEX. I mean, all I got ordered right now is all the PEX. And I actually have enough PEX coming. Like I kind of strayed from it. Like I ordered a whole bunch of 1/2-inch PEX to do radiant floors. And then I decided I'm not going to do it. I think I got 500 feet. So, I mean, 500 feet wouldn't do the whole house, but it would be enough to do like a room or two. And now I'm not going to be using it because to do cast iron radiators, I need to use 3/4. So now I'm going to have to order a 500-foot roll of 3/4 PEX. You know what I mean? So what am I going to do with all this 1/2-inch PEX? Now I'm thinking, you know, I could probably just use this 1/2-inch PEX to run water out here to the shop. It's like a 200-foot run to the house. And I really don't want to put a hot water heater out here. So it would be almost nice if I just ran 2 lines from the house out to the shop and have hot and cold water. It's just, it would take a little while to get the hot water because it's like 200-foot run. You know what I mean? But I think that's what I'll end up doing with it. You know, it's, otherwise, what would I do with it? I'm going to have a whole bunch of extras. So maybe that's what we'll just do is run 2 1/2-inch lines here to the shop to get running water out here. I eventually want to put in I don't know, I might put in a toilet out here and stuff. The issue is the sewer, because I would have to flow uphill in order to get to my septic tank. So the options are basically put another little septic tank out here beside the shop or put in a grinder pump. And I don't think I'd use it enough to really justify the use of a grinder pump. You know what I mean? So I think we're just going to put like a basic sink and just kind of let the water kind of do its thing outside of the building, you know what I mean? But yeah, we got some stuff coming. I'm thinking about even putting in a heater out here from the outside furnace, but for as much as I'm out here, I feel like I'd be wasting it, you know? I probably should just leave it the way I have it and not worry about putting heat out here from the outside furnace. You know what I mean? I'll keep going on and on here about my heat. It's wintertime. Heat's on my mind. Like this way I'm doing firewood right now, I really hope that this is the last I ever have to do firewood like this. I really do. The reason is because it's a little wood stove in the house that I'm heating the whole house with. I got oil as well, but the oil is only being used when I absolutely positively have to. I'd say 95% of our heat is coming from the wood stove. And it's a lot of work. The wood stove wood needs to be split, you know, much smaller than what I would need in an outside furnace. So it's a lot more labor intensive, stacking and, cutting, splitting, stacking, hauling it in, all that stuff. You got all your ash in the house, everything. And if I put in an outside furnace, it's going to make things a lot easier because, you know, split a round in half where versus 6 pieces for the house or for the wood stove in a house. You know what I mean? And I'll be able to just pile it up there beside the outside furnace. And if I get the right one that'll also burn coal, then I'll be able to do a mix of wood and coal and not have to worry about doing as much work with the firewood, you know? It's the whole purpose of me putting in the outside furnace is to save time and energy on the work. You know? Working with wood is almost a full-time job, especially whenever you're burning as much as I do. So the house eats like 8 cord. Yeah, probably 8 cord, depends on the winter. And that's not including what I burn out here in the shop. So the more I'm out here, the more I burn. And I mean, like an evening like today, where it's like, I don't know, it's probably sitting around 30 right now. I didn't even bother starting a fire. And as long as I do things like this, you know, I'm not eating as much wood. So it kind of helps save it. But I bet you I realistically burning probably closer to 9 cord or 10 cord a winter. Probably 9. I'm going to say 9 cord a winter because of the shop. You know? It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. So, yeah. Outside furnace is in my future. And I'm hoping to have it in for this coming winter. Hoping. I got PEX coming. I'm just going to go around and find some cast iron radiators and throw them in. I didn't want to do that. I'm not a big fan of the look of cast iron radiators, but they are like the best as far as efficiency, and especially in a situation like I got, they are pretty much the best option. It's just, they're not the most appealing, you know? So we're just going to put them in and live with it. You know, people have done it for the past, century or so, living with those radiators. I'm sure I can do it, you know? But that's what we're going to do. Cast iron radiators, outside wood burner, and we might be buying a used outside wood burner. I keep kind of being on the fence with this, buying a newer one or buying an old beat up one or used one, or buying one that's kind of used but still functioning, and I'm still kind of debating on all that. I could go new. I'd rather not. I could go used, but still in good working order. You know, something that's only a couple of years old. So we're talking a difference between $6,000 and like we're talking the difference of like $16,000 versus $8,000. And if I wanted to go with something that needs repaired, probably going to have some leaks or something, I could probably get it for $1,500. And part of me wants to do the $1,500 version, just kind of tear it apart and work on it and kind of learn it, if you know what I mean, just to kind of get a feel for how it works and everything. But then part of me is like, you know, who wants to do that effort? Who wants to, you know, do I really want to do all that work? We'll see. We'll see how this goes. Probably going to end up with a used one in the end, though. Just whether or not it's going to be a good functioning used one or one that needs fixed is the question. You know what I mean? Now, to buy one for $1,500, I could probably buy a whole lot of heavy duty steel and put in it for, you know, $1,000, $2,000. Pretty much rebuild most, if not the whole water jacket and all that stuff. So it still end up being cheaper than buying a used one that don't have any leaks. You know, decisions. By the way, I already got my time off scheduled for Solfest. If you didn't, you should think about it. And I've already been making plans because we are having an event here at the end of July. I decided that we're going to have it at the end of July here. So, yeah, we'll talk more about that here at my place. We will be having an event last Friday and Saturday of July. We'll get more into that in the future. But if you guys are kind of curious, that's when it's happening. So, Anyway, hey, we'll talk to you in the next one. Later.